the garden is we really wanted to start getting residents out there learning gardening techniques and just getting the therapeutic benefits of gardening in general. So we know that this garden's going to continue on and thrive because it can provide hands-on experience for students here at Chico State from a variety of majors. As you saw, just getting the garden started, we were able to get experience to a lot of different students in a lot of different areas. And I think that will continue with maintaining the garden and just getting new students involved and seeing what direction they want to take it in. So it's, we just have a lot of hope for the garden's viability in the future. And also it's got strong roots in the community with other gardening communities here in Chico. So there is a cultivating community here in Chico. They're very interested in keeping the garden going. They keep contacting me, just asking how the garden's doing, if they can do anything to contribute or to help. And so we've maintained this connection, and it's really great that they just take the initiative to make sure the garden's still thriving. And we're actually in contact with Colleen Herms now through Cultivating Community, who wants to help with garden workshops, teaching the residents the actual hands-on gardening skills. So with her knowledge of gardening, that's going to be so helpful. And yeah, so basically the garden's going to continue to thrive, we think. You know?
And I think it just goes to show for us, like, we study nutrition, but there's so much more that the Chico community can bring. Like, we're just one part of it, and there's other people in the community that can really bring their expertise or, you know, their passion to Oakmont. So we saw that a lot with, you know, recreation, gerontology, and we just know there's so many more majors that can be a part of this, and just people in the community just joining together. So it's really exciting. And I've graduated, so I've moved back home, but it's great to come back and hear like how much more is happening already. So it's been a great experience.
So to conclude, this garden was made possible through all these different areas of the community just coming together and helping us just when we asked for help and just told them what the garden was about. They were just so willing to extend themselves, and it was just such a great experience. So the garden was made possible, and it's now thriving because of the combined skills and efforts of the community. And this community, we've learned, inspires good values, and especially the value of sustainability. Are there any questions, comments?
Of course, I have a question. The way that this began was a little bit. The guests and the university, all the participants really didn't know how it was going to work. And we were doing it once a month, and to start with, it was kind of the same people coming into it. But now, it's the guests are almost unhappy if we don't do it. I mean, they've become expecting this to happen. And one of the other things that's happening once a month when we go in and do this specific ingredient, raw material from the garden, the chef actually takes the time to put this and introduce whatever that ingredient is that week within the menu during the week. And so this is kind of how we've been doing it, and it's now actually happening. It was a philosophy that we were trying and a theory, but it's not a theory anymore. It's actually happening, and it is sustainable, and the guests are very, very pleased that we can do this and looking forward to it. And after watching this happening yesterday with the garlic, with the exercise, the guests are just, they were doing very, I mean, I was tired when I watched them because they were doing so much exercise, and then they came in, they don't have the questions in their faces anymore. They know what they're doing. And they look forward to it after, you know. And this is my excitement to watch this occurring, because it actually is happening, and it is sustainable with the students, and it's going to happen if we keep participating in it. It's going to continue, and it'll thrive, and it'll be a model for other senior facilities.
Yeah, we could definitely hope that, you know, if other like senior livings in the area were wanting to do something similar, then now they can maybe be in contact with Oakmont, because it's being like proven that it can work. And so I know there are others in the area, so it'd be exciting to see the different senior livings teaming up and working together. So.
Yeah, I know for myself, when I first saw the little plot of land at Oakmont that was going to be designated for the garden, I thought, that's it. You know? And now it's this great, beautiful garden that produces so much food. And so people may not even realize that they have a space that they can use to grow a lot of food and good quality, you know, organic local food. So like right outside the kitchen. So I think it's a great model, and it can show us that, you know, you can utilize the space you have really well, and I think that goes along as well with the values of sustainability. So, thank you. Yeah, thank you all for coming.
If you have any more dip, you're welcome to. You're not. Thank you so much for coming this morning. We really appreciate it.
Oh, and about the dip, the pesto used in there is basil from the garden, so you are actually tasting the garden in that dip. So.
About how many guests live in Oakmont?
Oh, was that on the first one?
It's about 60. It's
About
about
60.
like 60 through the. Yeah.
I wanted to say 100, but
Yeah.
60 to 100.
Yeah. About there. So yeah, and they all have such interesting stories, and it's really neat because when you go into the facility, it's just really like cozy. You get that feel when you go in there. So all the management that like Alma that was working there originally when we started the garden, just very friendly, very talkative. So
Storytelling, like storytelling comes back when you start to get that community engagement back. When you have older generations come in and they start talking to you, and you learn so much about their heritage. So fantastic work, very, very
Thank you very
cool.
much.
Sorry, I came in late, so Ma'am already mentioned this, but how do students who you said could use it in all these different majors? Can you give us an example of something?
Yeah.
That,
Okay, so for example, aside from nutrition, doing nutrition education, like let's say if you're a rec major and you're doing gerontology, so they could do activities with them, teaching them different exercises. We also have, I know, different like arts and crafts that they try to do, so maybe more hands-on, maybe an arts major could do something. Trying to think of other majors. I know they did for a while storytelling, so I don't know if that would be a part of maybe like an English curriculum or some sort of social work. Social work definitely. I actually know a couple friends in that major that were asking me if they could come into Oakmont. I'm like, you know, that's me. Like, totally go in. They want you there. So, yeah.
Was community organization, is that a major here? If I'm not mistaken. Community organizations or
But if
something
it is,
involving
that would certainly-
communities.
Yeah.
I think I saw that on campus.
I'm sorry if you already said this, but what made you guys want to pick like a senior living facility versus something else?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I was currently working at Oakmont doing education, and I was finding kind of a passion for teaching them, and I really enjoyed the environment, and I felt like it would be great, you know, to get to teach them and get to show them the health benefits of having something fresh and having a garden. So more of my passion personally came from my previous experience of teaching. So I'd never been at a senior living before, but I got that experience through my professor who just said, you know, they're looking for someone to teach nutrition education. If you want to try it, go for it. And I really liked it. So that's why I chose it. Anyone else? Yes.
Sorry, I came in a bit late as well, so I don't want to, maybe I'm asking something that you mentioned, but, so the garden, how does it work out? It's like basically certain things that they grow, and then the people from the residents or whatever, Oakmont can come in and help and kind of cultivate that, or do they each maybe have a delegated area where they want to grow with maybe they want tomatoes and strawberries, but somebody else wants zucchini, and they each have a little patch, or how does it work
It's
exactly?
pretty open. We were figuring out how to structure it that way in the beginning, but for now, most of the residents who live there, they don't have access to like an individual kitchen. So that's why we met with the head chef in the kitchen at Oakmont, and we made sure that we went through a process of getting feedback from the residents. What did they want growing in the garden? We came up with a list from that, And then we met with Chef Clayton at Oakmont and talked about, and he was great and open about incorporating what the residents wanted into the menu, and then also giving suggestions about what he could really use in the garden. And then from there, we met with a garden kind of specialist, and she gave us ideas about what could grow in that season and that climate, and we just kind of went from there. And so it worked out really well. Like, there's not, at this phase, the residents aren't quite involved enough in the garden to want to section off spaces for themselves, but that could certainly happen in the future. Now that they're getting a little more hands-on gardening experience, they may want to create more of a little community garden area, but it all goes back to the relationship with Chef Clayton and what he can use in the garden, because that's ultimately how the residents will be able to benefit from it.
Yeah, so it is just like a little area of land for now. Maybe in the future, like Veronica said, they might do something similar where they have little pots for themselves. So, yeah.
What were you guys growing during that season?
During summer?
Yeah, during.
During that time.
Yeah.
We had the cherry tomatoes. We had a lot of really interesting plants from Grub, like, what was that one zucchini called? Tromboncino. Have you ever heard of tromboncino?
This climbing squash.
It's like straight from Cinderella. It's like curly. It's like an Italian type zucchini.
It was growing into the parking lot. It was a very happy plant.
Yeah. We also had eggplant.
Peppers. Tons of basil. More basil. We have a little herb. This bed here is just for herbs, actually. So it had big bushels of basil, parsley, oregano, and different chives and things like that. And then we had, let's see, in the back we had cucumbers and squash. A lot of that succumbed to aphids, unfortunately, later in the summer. So it's kind of a trial and error. We're figuring out how to optimize the garden as the seasons go on, and kind of figuring that out. But so yeah, eggplant, tomatoes, peppers, herbs,
Melons.
cucumbers, melons, squash. Yeah. And they used a lot of the zucchini and squash that we were able to grow there.
Yeah, actually, when we came back from summer and we met with the chef, he wanted to discuss some of the herbs and the vegetables, and he did a lunch for us. So was it stuffed zucchini squash? He did like this whole dish for us and the vegetables from the garden, and I was like, wow, that is he's so creative. So, yeah, it was very fancy. So it was really fun to see that.
Well, it was probably fun for him to be able to deal with fresh, right from his own yard, vegetables.
It's nice. Because he did seem to be very excited about that.
Yeah, everybody gets excited.
Yeah, so I think it was just overall just a fun experience to see his passion with cooking get to be incorporated with the garden too. So we're really happy to see that it went well over summer.
Can you mention a little bit about the Farm to Seniors grant that Maria has been working on? You've heard about it?
I heard a little bit about it. I don't have a
She's
lot of
received a
details.
grant for
She
working
didn't
with
say
Glenn County on a similar approach. So if this works out, it's a good model for the particulars to be able to move it to Butte County or other senior facilities. We're hopeful that this will be something that will be looked at by other states, other counties.
Yeah, great. It's exciting.
Was
But
this for, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Basically, this is to help to facilitate what you're doing right now. It's similar to the farm to fork approach, or farm to the schools, like elementary schools, and so it's very similar in that respect, but now we're incorporating in different demographics.
Yeah, using local food.
My question was this organic? Did you guys use any type of pesticides, or how did that?
Oh, good question. Yes, this is all organic. We don't use any pesticides, and the soil's all organic, and the starters were all organic, so, yeah.
Yeah, we're very lucky in Chico to have such a thriving community that has like the agriculture and the herb starters, everything that's like so readily available. So we had so much help with that.